Hi guys, today I'm going to tell you why Malaysia is a much more preferable country to migrate to rather than the United Kingdom. Now, a lot of people see UK as a very much developed country and Malaysia, not very much people have discovered Malaysia actually, not very much people know Malaysia or appreciate the level of development in Malaysia. Now, Malaysia is a developing country and UK is a developed country. But if we place some considerations on the facilities and the amenities and the criteria of a developed country, we'll consider Malaysia to be a very comparable country to the UK because all the basic amenities that are required for a country to be a developed country, Malaysia have them. Things like good public healthcare and public amenities like public transport systems and average life expectancy and residences and business areas in the country. So Malaysia have a lot of all these things like for instance, from this Google search, one such criterion of a developed country is the income per capita, and countries with the high gross domestic product per capita would thus be described as a developed country. Another economic criterion is industrialization. Now, industrialization is, I think Malaysia is pretty much having more industrialization than the UK quite recently. Now, UK is a developed country already, so they are kind of becoming stagnant. They are not innovating again. They are not being innovative and they are not progressing further to industrialization and technologies. So, but Malaysia is a developing country, so they have a lot of opportunities to innovate and progress furthermore in development. Now, industrialization is very much evident in Malaysia. A lot of you might not know that thumb drive, the flash thumb drive that you use, was invented by a Malaysian, and there are a lot of technology companies in Malaysia who are developing local products. So industrialization is very much present in Malaysia. So if this is one of the criteria, then we should probably say that Malaysia is a kind of partially developed country. And another thing is that countries which the tertiary and quaternary sectors of industry dominate would thus be described as developed. So we see all these criteria and we pretty much know that all these things are evident in Malaysia. The education system is very much progressive. Why Malaysia is not yet discovered yet and not so much regarded in the world record of developed countries is because they are very much pretty much conservative people in terms of dealing with foreigners. They are not very much open with giving visas to foreigners and migration in the country and things like that. So that's one of the reasons why the country haven't yet been discovered by foreigners. But a lot of foreigners that travel to Malaysia from the US and UK and every other Western countries, they testify that Malaysia has actually developed far more than what people thought of it. You know, when they are when they are living in their own country, they don't really hear about Malaysia, and the little they hear is probably one of the poor Asian countries. But those of them that are able to visit Malaysia would be able to know that Malaysia has actually progressed further more than what people know about, what the Western people know about it. And these are the criterions, and I'm pretty much sure that Malaysia have a lot of these facilities, such like public facilities like medical centers and hospitals and specialized hospitals and things like that, public amenities. Malaysia have a lot of all these things, which is very much comparable to. Actually, recently, Malaysia is now having more technological development than the UK because the UK is already developed very long time ago, in many years ago, and the technologies that was used to develop the UK are all almost obsolete. Most of the technologies are almost obsolete. Most of their home utensils or home utilities, devices, and all of that, most of them are almost obsolete. And Malaysia now is a developing country, so they are in the process of developing, which gives them the privilege of utilizing the latest technologies to develop their country. And that's one of the advantages they have over these developed countries like the UK. The Malaysian train system is far more better than the UK train system. The MRT train system, the newly one that was constructed, is using latest technologies, which is far more better than the UK train system. And in Malaysia, they are using more of digital money than physical money. Now there are a lot of e-wallets companies, e-wallets applications. You can do a lot of transactions through your mobile phone, e-wallets, not even your credit card. There's a lot of digital transactions. There are a lot of technology involvement in every industry in Malaysia. But the UK really don't have much of these technologies like e-wallets transactions. It's very, very limited in the UK, not very much. People still transact with cash a lot. I think a lot of people still do their transactions, daily transactions with cash or credit card instead of e-wallets. But in Malaysia, a lot of people, especially in the cities, a lot of people now do transactions through e-wallet, software-based transactions rather than using physical money. So that is one of the reasons also that can give Malaysia a boost in terms of developed countries. And another thing that we have to consider is this chart from Wikipedia shows an average annual growth from 2010 to 2021 of each country. So this is one of the criteria also. It says the following countries ranked from 1 to 66 in the year 2021 are considered to be a very high human development. So which means that any country that's listed here is part of the developed or developing country, and it's very much considered to be a developed country, except for some countries that are still considered as developing country. Now let's compare Malaysia to the UK. Now, if you see here, the UK has about 0.17% of annual growth from 2010 to 2021. So you can see that their growth is kind of diminishing. It's no longer growing rapidly because they are already developed and they are kind of stagnant. So let's see Malaysia. Now remember, UK is 0.17% growth. And Malaysia is 0.39%. So you can see that Malaysia is pretty much growing better than the UK because UK is kind of settled already and they are stagnant and they are no more improving, they are no more innovating, and you can see that Malaysia has a very much higher percentage of growth from 2010 to 2021 than the UK. So this is another thing that we have to consider, and if you consider this also the data report from 2022, there is not much of difference from the UK to compared to Malaysia. UK is 0.929 and Malaysia is 0.803. So just about 0.1 something difference. So if you compare this data, you see that Malaysia is actually more developing than the UK. And if you count the skyscrapers in the country in Malaysia, far bigger than the UK. Malaysia holds the record of world's second most tallest skyscraper, which is the Merdeka skyscraper, and Malaysia holds the world record of the most tallest twin tower, which is the Petronas Twin Tower. So the world's tallest building is the Burj Khalifa, which is in Dubai, and the second world's tallest building is Merdeka Tower, which is in Malaysia. UK doesn't have that, but Malaysia has it. And there's a lot of skyscrapers in Malaysia, which UK doesn't really have. Most of the houses, both commercial and residential buildings in the UK, are usually low flat buildings. So another data that we have to consider is, now as you can see, the PPP of the UK, this is a purchasing power parity, is $49,420. So as of 2021, and it's slightly bigger than Malaysia. And the gross domestic product of the UK is $3.131 trillion as of 2021, and the gross national income is $3.327 trillion PPP as of 2021, and the life expectancy in the UK is 80.9 years. So as of 2021, so it's pretty much higher than Malaysia. That's a considerable point to the UK. But in Malaysia, the PPP, this is a purchasing power parity of Malaysia, is $28,150 as of 2021. But if you look at the chart here, you can see that the curve is going up. It's going up, which signifies growth. But if you look at the chart here in the UK, it's not so, it's higher than Malaysia, but not so much growing. It's kind of balancing down and going up and down. So it has gone below average already. I think it's just around the average because this is 80,000 and this is 0. So and 40,000 is the middle point, and this chart is just about just a little bit above the 40,000 line. So it's kind of within the average point. And Malaysia is growing. Malaysia is almost at the maximum, even though the amount is pretty much lower than the UK, is about 20,000 more lower than the UK. but you see the chart is growing. This signifies development, which means that Malaysia is rapidly developing. So that is the thing that we need to consider about Malaysia and the UK. Now, why is it very much important for you to invest your money in Malaysia than the UK? Is because Malaysia is growing and there are opportunities and things are much more affordable for you to invest your money, which means that in the next few years, your money increase will be more better than a developed country already, because a developed country is already stagnant and not improving, not growing. There are less opportunities of investment and less opportunities of innovation. But Malaysia has more opportunities of innovation because they are still in the process of developing. And the gross domestic product of Malaysia is 373 billion, while the UK is 3.131 trillion. So it's the UK is far more bigger than Malaysia in the GDP, and the life expectancy of Malaysia is 75.94 years, while the UK is 80.9 years. This is very much considerable considering the fact that UK is developed and they have been developed for a very, very, very long time. They are a colonial country, so they have been developed for many, many years ago. And the gross national income of Malaysia is 945 billion, while the one of UK is 3.3 trillion. It's like 2 trillion more than Malaysia. So apart from these factors, we see that there are a lot of other factors that places Malaysia in the same par with the UK, because if you're talking about public amenities like good roads, good hospital, healthcare system, and healthcare system is very much cheap and affordable here in Malaysia. Pretty much more affordable than the UK. And if you're talking about public transport system and average cost of living and things like that, you see that Malaysia actually have these things much more affordable than the UK. Cost of living also is very much affordable and comfortable here in Malaysia. Houses, very much comfortable houses that you can get at about, let's say, $1,000. You cannot get such kind of quality houses in the UK with that same amount. It will be like triple the amount or 4 times the amount. So these are some of the things that you need to consider. And the country Malaysia is pretty much developed. Although it's not yet considered as a developed country, but it is pretty much developed in terms of the general amenities, like the things that you expect to see in a developed country, whether it's public transport, public housing, and what else? Business areas, commercial areas, and industrialization and everything. They have all these things. They have them in a very high standard, in a very high international standard. So those are the things that we can consider to say that Malaysia is doing very well. And if you're talking about investing your money, whether in the real estate or in innovation in technology companies, or whatever you would like to invest, I think Malaysia is a very much interesting place to invest. Apart from the fact that they are very much conservative about dealing with foreign expats and giving visa and things like that, and a few other things like they don't really have many jobs for everyone. Those are things that are very much secluded for some group of people. But apart from that, if you're able to cut across these restrictions, I think you would be able to enjoy having to invest your money in this country rather than the UK, because the UK is a developed country, so there's a very high competition. But in Malaysia, there's a less competition for you as a businessman, as an investor, and for you to invest rather than investing in an already developed country. And being part of a developing country is also a benefit for you, because whatever you invest now, in the next 10 years, of course, we expect the country to develop far better than what it is now. So in the next 10 or 20 years, whatever you have invested will for sure triple your investment. But in developed countries, it's very much difficult because there are high competition and things are very much, because it's very expensive to invest in such countries. So, but the only thing is that the money has more value than Malaysian money. So, which means that whatever you invest, whatever later revenue you get from whatever you invest in the UK, you're very much sure to get it like 4 times or 5 times bigger than Malaysian money. But if we consider the purchasing power parity in the local country, of course, you will get more revenue in Malaysia than the UK. So guys, this is my opinion about the UK and Malaysia. So those that are seeing Malaysia as not a developed country, I think you need to visit the country for you to see by yourself, and you need to visit the United Kingdom also so you can be able to experience the differences. There is no much in terms of public amenities. I think Malaysia rules in that aspect. I think the UK is not able to compare with Malaysia in terms of public amenities like public transport or public housing and public health care and things like that. So that's my opinion, guys, and I hope you like this video. If you do, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you again. Bye bye.